Hey, welcome to my Self-Important Magic the Gathering show. We are on week 19 of the 32 deck challenge. This week is Jund, the color combination of black, red, and green. And you're getting to see something that I normally have all picked out before the episode, and that's who the commander is going to be. I thought I knew who the commander was going to be, but I changed my mind. So now we're going to look over commanders. We have this legend, this $70 add an Ognis shield. It is a 1/2 for 3, one of each color, that you can pay one of each color and tap to get a creature from your graveyard into your hand. That is definitely an old card. Waker of Corpses is a Hydra. So he has X in his mana cost. So he gets a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the amount that you spent. Which is interesting because that makes the commander tax beneficial in a way. I mean, it's still mandatory, but it can be 3/3 for 3. Whenever it attacks you, exile a creature card with lesser power from your graveyard. And yeah, and then you get a token copy that's tapped and attacking, exile at the end of combat. Not a fan. Hinsey Toolbox Tori. Shout out to the Goon Reclamation Squad or Committee or League, whatever they're called. I forget the exact word because they haven't said it in a while. That's reclaiming the word goon from what it means currently to what it used to mean, which was basically just, a henchman. Each creature spell you cast with mana 4 or greater has Blitz. The Blitz cost is equal to its mana cost. When you cast it for its Blitz cost, you basically sacrifice it at the end of turn. It gains haste. And then when it dies, you draw a card. And your Blitz costs are 1 for each time you cast Hinsey. Not a fan. Not really. Not my jam. Indoraptor, perfect hybrid. It has Bloodthirst X. It enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counter, where X is the damage dealt to your opponents this turn. So that's neat. So, you don't want to play the Indoraptor right away. You want to get some damage on the field. And then play Indoraptor main phase 2. And then Indoraptor also has Enrage. When Indoraptor, the perfect hybrid, is dealt damage, choose an opponent at random. Indoraptor deals damage equal to its power to that player unless they sacrifice a non-token creature, which basically means feed the Indoraptor or you're going to get bit. I like that. I have it on decent authority that that's a really powerful commander, but I probably won't build it that great. I'd still try my best, tell you what. Slimefoot and Squee. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you get a Saproling. Okay. And then you can pay Jund plus an additional generic to sacrifice a Saproling to return Slimefoot and Squee and up to one other target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. I like that, getting back your stuff. So right now we have Indoraptor and Slimefoot as possibilities. Zera Aryan, that is a Legend Retold card. No, that's the original version. That cost Jund to come out for a 1/2 again. Oh boy, creatures really sucked. I mean, and it was a rare, so they could have given it better stats, but they didn't. But it has flying, and then you can pay Jund and tap to have a target player draw a card. It is almighty awful. Oh. Quorum the Undertaker, plus X plus O, where X is the greatest power among creature cards in all graveyards. That is honestly interesting. When it attacks, each player mills a card. That kind of goes against my own principles, so... During each of your turns, you may play a land card and cast a spell from among cards and graveyards that were put there from libraries this turn. And that's all very interesting, but again, I don't like milling people. I don't like being milled. And while I do consider stealing stuff out of people's graveyards to be more acceptable than stealing it off their battlefield or out of their hand, considering we're the person who put it in their graveyard, that just all stinks to me. Mr. Orfeo the Boulder. Whenever you attack, double target creature's power until end of turn. That's more of a 99 card than his own thing. Ognis, the Dragon's Lash. Haste. Whenever a creature you control with haste attacks, create a trapped treasure token. That's neat. I don't know if we'd want that as the commander per se, but that is a commander I like playing on Arena, for what it's worth. Shattergang Brothers. A lot of expensive abilities. Sacrifice a creature, each other player sacrifices, each other player sacrifices, each player sacrifices. Okay, that's just a way to make everybody hate you at the same time. Soul of Windgrace. Whenever Soul of Windgrace enters the battlefield or attacks, you may put a land card from a graveyard onto the battlefield tapped under your control. Well, that's a good way to steal other people's fetch lands, tell you what. Discard a land, gain 3 life. Discard a land, draw a card. Discard a land, gains indestructible until end of turn. Beamtown Bullies, that's the one where you just give people bad cards from your graveyard. I know how that one goes. Winter, each player draws 2 cards. As long as there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard, each opponent's maximum hand size is equal to 7 minus the number of those card types. Like, that first one seems fine, but then you're like, no, not really. Zero the Golden Sting, there's the retold. Flying in Haste, okay. Whenever attacks, put an egg counter on another target creature without an egg counter on it. When that creature dies, if it had an egg counter on it, draw a card and create an insect. I like that because it's anybody's creature. Those creatures, they don't have death touch, I noticed, but you're getting a bunch of little 1/1 flyers. One of my toes itch, so I'm gonna take care of that. Yurlok of Scorch, Thrash. A player losing unspent mana causes that player to lose that much life, and then he can give everyone mana. That's a good one because I think I know how I want to build that, and it's not like in a group slug type way. I mean, I probably still run things like Mana Flare that doubles everyone's mana, like that. Yurlok is a lot trickier than he looks. Like, you want to give them stuff, but like if there's a person at the table who's drawing a lot of cards, then that kind of messes with your thing, because if you're giving them more mana, then they'll actually be able to play those cards. So I think the trick is to actually not run Mana Flare, now that I'm thinking about it, and just being happy with the each player adds 3 and maybe doing 3 damage to them, and then finding a way to untap Yurlok multiple times. Like, Seedborn Muse is a game changer now, and there's a good reason for it. Ball Lord of Murder, not a fan. Disa the Restless, that's for if you want to do Lurgoyf Tribal, which could be fun, but we're not doing that. Korvald, Fey Curse King, nobody likes fighting against him. That's just whenever he enters or attacks, you sacrifice another permanent, and when he sacrifices a permanent, you put a +1/+1 counter on him and draw a card. Like, that's just Jund Aristocrats, like Turbo. Crush the Blood Braided. Whenever another creature dies, no matter who, he gets X +1/+1 counters, where X is that creature's power, but notice he doesn't have any native evasion. Marika, Brutal Gladiator, that is Zangief Universe Within, so that's going to be saved for another time. Darigaz the Igniter, I'm not a fan of these dragons that have a pay-to-do a thing. Baral Runax has protection from auras, and he also has vigilance. As far as old legends go, at least he's close to being worth how much you have to pay for him. Wasitora Nekoru Queen. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, that player sacrifices a creature. If they can't, you get a 3/3 with flying. The Keen Negotiator. Another opponent creates X treasure tokens, where X is the number of treasure tokens you created this turn. Whenever an opponent casts a spell or activates an ability, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast or activated, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on a thing and draw a card. Another dies, you get a 3/1. Prosh, that's the Kobold one. Thantis the War Weaver. All creatures attack each combat if able. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, put a +1/+1 counter on this thing. Vivictus Asmati the Dire. Oh, that's the Jund Elder Dragon. Okay. Okay, so you basically destroy a thing and they get the... Then they reveal the top card and put it into play if it's permanent. Zeator the Incinerator, that's Henzi's boss. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice another creature. When you do, Zeator Incinerator deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target, and you create 3 treasure tokens. So that's sweet. Dargaz goes into exile and comes back later. Tyrant of Jund gains control of all dragons. Newer Corvold costs less for each card type among permanents you sacrifice this turn. Flying Trample Haste deals combat damage to a player. It gets that many counters and draws X cards. Oh, where X is the number of permanent types among cards in your graveyard. We can go Haste Tribal. Part of me wants to join the Goon Reclamation Squad and do Henzi and try to get this to work, but I might be too smooth the brain for that. Another part of me wants to go Zero the Golden Sting. Because I put both of those in the deck. But I think we'll wait for another time to do that. Yurlok is an easy deck to make, but probably difficult to make it good. And honestly, you probably really only want to do that on your own turn because you need to use the mana. Okay, so we're going to go Yurlok. We're going to set Yurlok as the commander. And then T land O T, or open parentheses, T swamp or T mountain or T forest. Does he have haste? No, he doesn't. He does have vigilance though, which is neat. So Blood Crypt, Captain, Canyon Slow, Cinderglade, Geothermal Bog, Commercial District, Haunted Mire, Highland Forest, Sheltered Thicket, Raucous Theater, Overgrown Tomb, Smoldering Marsh, Snow-Covered Forest, Mountain, and Swamp, Stomping Ground, Underground Mortuary, Sulphurous Mire, Wooded Ridgeline, Woodland Chasm, Zeator's Proving Ground. Just say words out loud, basically. No, I want it, but we're not doing it. We're gonna. I don't know about the verges either. So that's Verge, Control, Reveal, one of each. That's our second reveal. So I think that's all three reveals. That's our second Control. Both of the Tainted. There's our second Verge. There's our third Verge. There's our third Control. Yeah. We should close this, because I do need to go here and go 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Oh, and that gets us exactly to 37. Pride from a cold hit, dead hands, everyone. Oh, they're showing the Chocobo ones, the new ones. The decks were like just revealed, yeah, last weekend. So I'm still recording these early. When the set comes out, I'll probably look at the precons, because I'm not famous. You ain't looking at me for the precon spoilers. I'll wait till the set's out properly before I look at them. I might do my own deck text for them, but don't expect anything great out of that. Golgari, Gruul, Rakdos, Talisman of Impulse, Indulgence, Resilience. Then we go T, Sorcery, O, Forest card. MV equals 2. Forest card, forest card. Fars. N-N-O-R-T-H. we go. 12 pieces of ramp. Even though I have 9 basics, we're not doing rampant growth this time. I don't know if I put it in any of my other 3-color decks that had green in it, but we're skipping it here. I think we're fine with 12 pieces of ramp. And then we have our interesting removal suite with this selection. Instant. Oh, permanent order. CMC. No, 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 no. I know what I'm looking for, but it's still mildly fast to do it this way. There's the Assassin's Trophy. There's Terra Sunder. Beast Within. Atomize, Drag to the Roots, Mortality Spear, let's see, thinky. Baleful Mastery, because you can pay 2 for it, even if it allows your opponent to draw a card. I mean, Assassin's Trophy allows them to ramp, so... An Assassin's Trophy is why I want to keep basic lands in my deck. Just, looking at something really quick that was unrelated. Destroy target. MV equals 2. You know what, let's Artifact Mutation. Cast down. Destructive Revelry. Go for the Throat. Heartless Act. I think I mentioned how, like, for a brief time this was awful because everything had counters on it. Yeah, that sounds like a thing I said. Go. That's like 14 pieces of targeted removal. I'm not really good with mass disruption in these colors. Oh, I know what 3. I know what 3 I want. Vandal B. Vandal Blast. Shattering Spree. Pest Infestation, that's kind of a mass disruption. Notice none of those are mass disruption for creatures. That's because I don't want to put in Blasphemous Act or Blasphemous Edict. And I realize that it really is a weakness of mine that I don't want to be the one to board wipe. Even though there are often times in 1v1 where I'm like, I really should put board wipes in my deck. But I feel like I never get them when I need them. And they clog up, like, I just have bad draw luck. Or something. But 3 more pieces of mass disruption. I wonder... Mass disruption and Jund. That? Wow, that says land. That's... Well, none of that happened. How about board wipes in Jund? Toxic Deluge, Dangnation, Pernicious Deed, Black Sun Zenith, literal board wipes. Yep, I'm just gonna have to continue to be bad at that. Well, let's go to EDH Rec. Artifacts? What do you guys think? Alright, the boots, the greaves. Oh, right, duh. I'm a big fat duh. Hold on. I'm gonna put this in, and I'm dumb as heck. And then I'm gonna go here, and my THR, good old mithril coat. Oh, unspent mana. Oh, Glissa Sunseeker, that's funny. And then Upwelling helps everyone, not me. I already typed that in. There's a red dragon. Okay, we got to go over here. We got to go to creatures. We got to find it because I got to find the wording. Oh, Ignoble Hierarch, Birds of Paradise. Yeah, that's Sakura Tribe Elver. Oh, Goblin and Archomancer. I see where they're going with these, just to give the opponents more mana. Leyline Tyrant. You don't... Oh. You know, yeah, let's just... Oh, yeah, that's right. All of these just do specific colors. So let's go here and let's just search for the word unspent. Unspent. Okay, you don't lose unspent mana. You don't lose unspent mana. You don't lose unspent mana, and you don't lose unspent mana. Those are the important ones. So, well, we at least have 18 pieces of removal. Oh, that's because Glissa went over there. So we will add this, we'll call this Mana Keepers. There. Is that really all of them? Just looking. Oh, no, that one. Right, because there were 5 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. I feel like these are all things that should go in the Omnath Locus of All deck. Okay, so I think so we're going back here. We went to artifacts. Mana sinks. You can see where Rug of Smothering would be good in this. Patriarch's Seal to untap. What other creatures? Now that no. See, this is giving our opponents more mana, just on the off chance that they can't spend it all. I'm not a fan. I don't want to go in that direction. Whenever opponent activates ability of an artifact, creature, or land on the battlefield, if it isn't a mana ability, not a fan. Not. Whenever they cast a spell, I can see where they're going with that. This is a game changer, so we're not using that. When we tap permanents for mana, we get 3 times as much. If an opponent would lose life during our turn, they lose twice as much instead. See, I like that. That's not how that works. Mana burn, I don't think. Yeah, that's loss of life, not damage. That's what I thought. Whenever a player casts a spell, if it's not their turn, they take 4 damage. Magus of the Candelabra is honestly kind of funny. But yeah, we definitely will need... Ooh, players can only play spells during their own turns. That turns off a lot of our instants, but I like it. And then we can Seeker of Skybreak to untap a creature. And then we go back up to artifacts and we do Staff of Domination. It's a little expensive. Oh, Umbral Mantle. Yes, okay. Yeah, I can see why they're looking at sort of the pay runs, because anything that can untap our commander, there are certainly. Oh, and they want oh, we want the power seal? It only does it once. And the ideal of this thing or this thing, yeah, okay. Theoretically, with the Staff of Dominion, we can do it unlimited times, or at least several times. Yeah, I understand. What about some enchantments? Citadel of Pain. At the end of each player's turn, Citadel of Pain deals X damage to that player, where X is the number of untapped lands he or she controls. See, we like that. Whenever a player taps for mana, that adds one additional, and then they take damage. See, we're not. See, we don't want to damage them for tapping their lands. We want to damage them for not tapping their lands and for not spending their mana. I understand. No. Alternate win the game card. No. I like War's Toll. Just get people to do stuff. I understand. Oh, Wound Reflection. Oh, Fraxen Arena just so we can draw cards. Yeah, I understand that much. What is this Tectonic Instability? Whenever a land comes into play, tap all lands its owner's controls. I like these use it or lose it cards. So enchantment. And we're not doing any of it. Although X spells would be a good way to also be a good way to spend our mana. Lavalanche. Does X damage target player or planeswalker, and each creature that player or that planeswalker is. No. Okay, so what are we up to? We're at 90. Let's go by types. We have 10 creatures. Categories. How much card? We have one piece of card draw. Black Market Connections, just to add another piece of card draw. It is once again interesting to see where they put my stuff. Ah, they're calling these stacks pieces. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, tap all lands that players controls. Yeah. I mean, what's funny is that, well, that's an opponent. War's Toll is definitely more stacks than this one. This one's symmetrical. I guess the point is that we plan on the nonsense. I think we want more of these effects to protect some of our pieces. And maybe not worry too much about so let's go T equip mint open parentheses O Hex P or O Shroud or O Indist. Champion's Helm. General's Kabuto is a tad expensive. So that's 3 with an equip of 1. This one gives my other ones free equip. Should I draw it first? And this thing doesn't have to be equipped to anything, even though it gets a free equip as well. Mirror Shield. I like the additional part where it destroys Death Touchers. Let's see, did that... I'm going to go up to 15 creatures, but I don't know what I want those creatures to be. I'm going to come back to that search. But, minus T instant minus T sorcery. Untap target. We don't need to untap lands. Huh. Jandor saddlebags. Thousand-Year Elixir. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste, and then untap target creature. That means we can get the mana out of our commander as soon as they come back, because that's an activated ability. Card search, go here. Look at that one last time at creatures, and I bet it's going to be more mana dorks. Yep. Ooh, Stone Shaker's Shaman. At the end of each player's turn, that player sacrifices an untapped land. Let's see if that... No, that's not... considered mass land denial. That's wild. We're going to go Rug of Smothering. Oh, hey, look, Xanthus Sleeper Agent made it in here. Oh, that is actually a mana sink, too. So I like that. And then also Karavek the Merciless. And then Lord of Pain. Nope. Okay, so we went over by one. Just moving that over there. You know what? Xancha has her own deck. We're going to take her out of this. I'm not a billion% happy with this. Let's go into the play tester. Okay, and we drew 100% lands. Let's mulligan. And then we drew one land. Let's mulligan again. 1, 2, 3 lands. Okay, let's keep this. I don't like this playtester either. Don't worry about it. Let's see. If you can't read the cards, don't worry. This is Raucous Theater. That's the Surveil land. So it comes into play tap. We're not going to worry about that. Peek the top one card. It is a land. So we're going to leave that there. Oh, we forgot to draw for turn, actually. So we're actually peeking this top one card. That is the Doubling Cube. We'll hold on to the Doubling Cube because I don't know any better. So then we have no turn one plays. So turn two, we draw the Doubling Cube, and now we can actually look at it. It costs 2 to play, and then we can use it to double the mana in our mana pool. This is definitely not something that's going to be played for a while. Especially since we kind of need those other cards. This card might come out because it's only really good if we have one of those 5 other cards. So now we have like an immediate cut to try to put something better in the deck. So oh, I see. We have both of these. We don't have a turn 2 play unless we want to put the Doubling Cube out. So I am just going to play this to increase the different colors of mana that we have available. That came into play tapped as well. So now we're on turn 3. We're going to pretend this comes into play untapped because we're going to have a gentle person's agreement for other people that are poor. But wait, how much do you cost to play? Notes, details. You cost 4. So turn 3, though, actually we're going to do this because we do control a mountain or a swamp. And then we're going to tap all of those for Phyrexian Arena that we're going to put way over here. Yeah, because our commander costs 4. We did not draw any ramp. No, we drew one piece of ramp, but I chose to play the card draw spell. So now our life goes down by 1. So then we draw 1, 2. Then we will play this. We do not have enough green mana, but we are going to play our commander. Who's at least a 4/4. So we played our commander on curve and very little else. We probably got punched a few times, but that's fine. So next turn we draw. Now that we have our commander out, we're going to ramp. So we're going to Patriarch's Seal. Then 3 Visits, which is a forest card. Search library. The first forest card I see. There we go. Play card. Back. Shuffle library. So that came into play tapped. So that's everything I could do there. I probably could have done something with this, and I think that would have only given me 2 more mana, which I don't see anything that I could do with. Next turn, draw 2, just assuming that no one wants to instantly murder our commander. We're going to play this, and now we have 1. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 mana. Then we have play this, and then we go down to 6, and then up to 12. Probably want to play that. So 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. Which would be this. And this, even though this saves us from... Now we save ourselves from mana burn. Okay, maybe we don't take doubling cube out, but we got lucky by drawing that. Like we're still low on creatures in the deck. We didn't draw any of our stacks pieces. But then again, we're not that far into the game, and that was just one playtest. I don't like the goldfish too much. How do I easily go back? Oh, there we go. Easily go back to get deck that way. I mean, sans other people doing stuff, that at least was functional, but we did get lucky by getting card draw and one of these 5 things. And doubling cube actually did help, I think. I didn't track how much of the mana of each type I had. I just assumed I had the right cut types. So you might have seen me cheat just now. I did not draw a whole lot of my ramp either. Or protection for my... Well, I did draw that. But, which only makes him funnier. Okay, now I feel a little bit better about it after that, but that really wasn't a great... we're going to say mana burn for the win. Bing. Mana burn is back. That's just what we're going to call the deck. This deck could still use a little work. Let's just be honest. Save changes. Close. New deck. We're just going to title it Jund for now. Jund him out. Private. T legend. T creature. Colors. Huh. Just interesting how many of those letters I missed typing. Colors. BRG. Orders. CMC. Just because I like looking at it in that order. I didn't entirely hate Slimefoot and Squee. Don't entirely hate the Indoraptor. I think I might just go Haste Tribal for the second deck just to make it easier on my own brain. Funny thing is that since these are shards and not wedges, we don't have any of the dragons from Tarkir in here. Protection from auras is such an interesting ability. And I thought about the dragons just now because there's that one dragon that says if something came into play this turn, it deals double damage. So we're gonna do an aggro haste tribal. Set as commander. Close. We are going to go back to Mana Burn is back. Because we are going to export parts of this deck. Specific categories, of course. We want the ramp, the removal, and the land, even though I have a feeling there's cards that we are going to take out of that. And then go back up here, go to Jund them out. And we're probably going to keep the name, now that I think about it. We can remove that. Control V. Save. Close. We don't need the doubling cube. Honestly, we probably didn't need the Goblin and Archomancer, but it does make our commander easier to cast. We're not going to use the Nyxbloom Ancient. We're not going to use Glissa Sun Seeker. That put us this at? Oh, 68 because we're keeping the Anarchomancer. So, no, now we go in here. And then we go T creature. O. Actually, we want treasure because he makes treasures. So let's see stuff. I know I put T creature, but minus T instant, minus T sorcery. We want to do stuff with treasures. We don't need anything to make treasures, but we want to do stuff with treasures. Like, normally I'm like, oh, hey, Ancient Copper Dragon, that's neat. That's something I could have put in the Scorch Thrash deck if I wanted a big creature in there. I mean, all three of them. So, Academy Manufactor, just to get food and clues at the same time. That creates tokens. Oh, but we can pay 2 to get double out of our tokens. Oh, okay, so Alchemist Talent is actually kind of cool. So, you get 2 treasure tokens when it comes out, and then you can pay 2 to also have your tokens, your treasures, sacrifice to add 2 of any one color instead. And then if you have another 5 that you're willing to put into it, whenever you cast a spell, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, this class deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to each opponent. So that's good. Asgard Artisan is more for +1/+1 counter decks. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-creature token, they get 2 poison counters. And we're not doing anything with that. He makes treasures, but you take damage equal to treasures that you have. Black Market Connections is, of course, going in here just because it draw a card. Create a treasure. Create treasures. Creates treasures. Creates treasures. Lands controlled, create treasures. That's a neat card, but we don't need it here. Create a treasure. Only if something fought. Create a treasure. She has haste. She creates treasures on attacking, and she gets bigger when you sacrifice treasures. So that all kind of goes together. Burakos, party leader, is 3 different creature types. Whenever he attacks, they lose X life and you get X treasure, whereas the number of creatures in your party. I was thinking that did other things, but it doesn't. Creates treasure. Creates treasure. Creates treasure. Creates treasure. Creates treasure. Creates treasure. Creates a lot of treasure and deals a lot of damage to people. Done for the day. Creates treasure. Creates treasure. Whenever he attacks, you do a vote. And you get treasures equal to 1 vote and +1/+1 counters on each of your creatures equal to the other. If you descended, you get a treasure. Sacrifice another creature or artifact, put a +1/+1 counter on her. If you sacrifice the treasure, she gets lifelink until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Ward, sacrifice a treasure, or sacrifice a creature. She gets +2 poke for treasure you control. Whenever one or more players sacrifice one or more creatures, you get a treasure token once a turn. That's interesting. But they don't have, none of these are ways to spin the treasure. Sacrifice a creature. Remove a counter. Sacrifice an artifact. Yeah. For creatures, I'm looking more for haste anyway. Treasures you control are equipments, but we're not playing pirates. That is neat, though. Create a treasure. Goldspan Dragon creates a treasure, but it also it's redundant with that other effect to make our things double. And this creates treasure, but also has vigilance, trample, haste. So you know you can get your treasures back either when it dies, as long as it's not exiled. Grim Hireling. Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Sacrifice X treasures. Target creature gets -X until end of turn. That's an interesting way to remove something. Create treasure. If you use mana from a treasure, you draw a card and lose a life. Okay, that creates treasures. Let's click this to actually read it. When this saga enters, you get a treasure token, and then you can rummage. Huh. And then when the backside enters, you can discard a card. If you do, search your library for a land or a different battle, which is mildly interesting. And then, but they go into your hand. But that is interesting. Jetmir's Fixer, you can pump it. But if you use treasure, it gets permanently bigger with counters. That's interesting. Whenever you attack with one or more creatures with power 4 creator, you get a treasure. But you can also pay 2, sacrifice a treasure, and then she can do 1 damage to any target. If we can give her Death Touch, that's cool as heck. We're probably gonna do that. If not, we can always just take her out. Whenever a player attacks one or more of your opponents, the attacking player gets a treasure. If you create one or more treasure tokens, you can create an additional treasure. And then you can sacrifice 5 treasures to put 5 +1/+1 counters on her. Actually, I don't. That might be its own deck. Other creatures you control enter with an additional +1/+1 counter on them. For each mana from a treasure spent on them, that's good. He has haste, but he gains control of stuff, and I'm not about that. Create a treasure, and nope. Magda, we can sacrifice treasures to search for artifacts or dragons. I'm kind of down with that. Also, if we don't have any good artifacts or dragons to find, she's at least removal bait, because people will think just mixing up something to drink. Loot dispute. I was just reading Lobella Sackville Baggins. When she enters, exile target creature from an opponent's graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn. Then create X treasure tokens, where the X is that exiled creature's power, and it has flash, so you can do that at any time. Sacrifice 3 treasures to get a a dragon. Oh, that has haste. That also has haste. That is important. Create a treasure for each creature that died this turn. Oh, Mari the Killing Quill. She doesn't have her own. She doesn't have haste. But assassins, mercenaries, and rogues you control have death touch. Oh, she's a mercenary. These two can go together. So, you know. And whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you remove a hit counter. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it with a hit counter. That's important. Assassin, mercenaries, control have death touch, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that a player owns in exile. If you do, you draw a card and get 2 treasure tokens. I just like that because that goes with this, and this is a reason to put them both in the same deck. Mine Raiders, treasure token, creating them. Whenever a Mastermind Plum attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If the artifact, okay, nope. Oh, but if you cast spells with treasure, you draw a card and lose a life. That's important. Marut is funny as heck. It's a 7/7 with trample for 8. But when it enters the battlefield, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, create a treasure token for each mana from a treasure spent to cast it. It doesn't have haste, but man, is that funny. Especially if you have anything that in play that makes extra treasures. Misfortune Teller, Monument to Endurance, Most Wanted, Noble's Purse. That's such a roundabout way to make mana. Oh, and that's from Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. Whenever you sacrifice a food, you can create a tapped treasure. I kind of like it on principle, but it really doesn't go in this deck. Too bad you're a warrior. Old Nabone makes more treasures. It's also a dragon. I'm kind of tempted to put this dragon and the big dragon at the top in the deck. Just saying. Oh, there would be a broken card that I'd love. Unspent mana turns into treasure tokens. The card would have to be expensive, or there'd have to be some other downside, or it'd have to create a brand new token. I like this, and I'm not scrolling back up just yet, but at the end I will go back and get the Ancient Dragon, because I do like them. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. No. Patron of the Arts. Nope. Pain Distributor. No. Pitiless Plunderer. No. Treasure. Dinosaurs. Prime Blade. Prosper Tomebound. At the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You may play that card. Okay. When you play a card from exile, create a treasure token. Okay, we don't need to create treasure tokens. Professional Facebreaker turns treasure tokens into impulsive draw. That's good. Oh, Cascade from treasure using. Revel in Riches, we win. We're not going to do that. This thing dies into treasure tokens, which is just funny. When this thing attacks, you get a treasure token. Oh yeah, Rose Room Treasure is pretty neat. You get a treasure for the first 2 creatures that come into play under your control, but on the 3rd one, he gets angry, and you can pay him to punch people. Sacrifice 3 treasures to draw a card. That's darn. Okay, so we were down here to the Ruthless Knave. And then it was minus T instant, minus T sorcery, O treasure. We're having a bit of a time on I'm sure I didn't spell anything incorrectly. No, we didn't. But we will take this time to put the Ancient Copper Dragon in the deck. That is my fault. So Ruthless Knave was the last thing we tried to add. Scion of Opulence, nope. Sarkon can behold dragons. That is, we don't nearly have enough dragons in this deck. Even though our commander is what's funny is our commander is a dragon. We can't behold them while they're in the command zone, but we can behold them once we play them. But we don't have enough dragons for this to matter. That is funny, though. Oh, if we use treasure, we can pay this instead of that. Stormkill and Artist, it gets bigger for our treasures. Stimulus package can create creatures. I really don't think that helps. Oh, we can give our creatures double strike with this. River Cleaver makes a lot of treasures. There and back again. I remember the other deck where like one of our goals was to copy this token as many times as possible. That was fun. Oh, Balrog of Moria has haste. What does it do? When it dies, you may exile it. When you do, for each opponent, exile up to one target creature that players control. Oh, and then you get 2 treasures if you cycle it instead, which is not worth it. Treasure. I actually do like this. You can create treasure tokens. Treasure map. Oh, sacrifice a treasure, draw a card. That's actually worth it. The Keen Negotiator does things with treasure. Oh, yeah, Vraska turns things into treasure. That's always funny. Whenever a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, you may pay 1. If you do, return that card to the battlefield tapped under your control. It's a treasure. That's actually kind of worth it, just because, again. Oh, and Zorn, we get extra treasure when we make treasures. Pay 1 life, sack another creature, create a treasure. This isn't that kind of deck. We would have made Zeatora if we wanted to make Zeatora. So we did end up putting a few things that also make treasures. But we did... We're gonna... but we did do a lot of ways to spend that money. Huh, that one guy did not end up in removal, interestingly enough. They all ended up in ramp. Oh, I'm gonna have to... Just looking at stuff really quick. hydrophobic glass lens coating. Oh, that sounds amazing. They make it to they repel grease and oils to make your glasses easier to clean. That sounds wonderful. I want to call these guys hoarders because that's funny. And then we are going to put this here. I'll put the gold span dragon over here as well. Okay, you know what? The ones that specifically make treasures, if I don't have another hilarious... You are removed. Yeah, you know, we're just going to put them all into hoarders. Since it's specifically tokens. I was going to do a different one for ones that allow us to spend the treasures. But... Gold Vein Hydra. There we go. Arcane Soul Ring, Arcane Thing of Farseek, Goblin and Archomancer, Signet, North, Nat Lore, Signet, Talisman, 3 visits. Okay. We're going to put that in there just to... So none of these actually... you know what? Technically you draw a card, even though it's a tutor. You draw cards. Professional Facebreaker technically draws cards. You're removal, but you're staying here because we're not putting anything else in the removal pile. Oh, you know what? Reign of Riches is technically card draw because that because Cascade is technically oh. Well, yeah, because the parentheses. Oh, and you know what? I'm just gonna put the word card in there. Technically card draw. And then Phyrexian Arena. Because we can. And we're gonna move that from over there to over there. There we go. We have 8 pieces of technically card draw. Not a whole lot of things with haste. Categories. Type. We have 18 creatures though. How many of these things have haste? 1, 2. So at least he makes his own treasures. You don't have haste. You know, let's start at the bottom. Doesn't have haste. Doesn't have haste. Has haste. That's 3 total creatures with haste. Four creatures with haste. Yeah, we have 4 total creatures with haste. So we are going to go here. Have haste. Because we have 18 creatures. So let's go anger. Because we're probably going to have a mountain, for the record. That costs 6. That's ridiculous. Fires of Yamamaya. Fervor. Huh. Gimli's Reckless Might is interesting, but I don't think we're going to do that. Hammer of Perforos. We don't want the Hellraiser Goblin. Creatures can roll have haste and attack each combat if able. Minotaurs of haste. Creatures you control have haste. Well, you know what? It's a creature. We're not doing Mass Hysteria and the other one because we don't want to give other people's haste. Other creatures you control have haste. Multicolored creatures have haste. That thing costs too much. Rising of the Day. Legendary creatures are stronger and all our creatures have haste. Tokens have haste. Warriors on our team have haste. It's redundant. We don't need that. Dogs have haste. No, creatures with counters have haste. Dogs have unleash. Huh. Affinity for Daleks. Daleks you control have haste. Artifact creatures have haste. Creatures you control have haste. Tuk Tuk Rubble Fort. He's defender, but still. Urabrask. Other creatures have haste. Whenever one or more face-down creatures control deal damage to a player, draw a card. Whenever a face-down creature you control dies, return to the battlefield face-down under its owner's control if it's a permanent card. Then turn it face-up. Well, if we were doing anything with that... Oh, that's from Murders of Carlisle Manor. That is wild as anything. Okay, so what does that put us at? That puts us at 99. And we have 23 creatures. 1, 2, 3. 3 non-creature ways to give all of our creatures haste. Then several creature ways to give all of our creatures haste. Oh no, we have 4 ways, because the Hammer of Perforos is over here. I wonder what archetypes... you know what? Actually, I think I'm going to remove all of these ones. And just have the creature ones. And then just add more creatures that actually just have haste. Like, I feel like And we can have 5 more creatures with haste. That I feel like I undersold the haste and leaned into the doing stuff with the treasures. But it's like, well, our command... Oh, actually, I know what I forgot to put. Actually, I know what I want to put in this deck, and I kind of forgot to put it in. We want MITHR. The Greaves and the Boots don't really help Ognis other than making him untargetable by our opponents, and that's all that really matters. And we might go and put in the other ones too, but first there's another thing I wanted to search up. This turn, this specific series of letters. Oh, minus T instant, minus T sorcery. Whenever a creature dealt damage by a gold dies this turn. Okay. Put this away this turn. Can't be blocked this turn. Life you gained this turn. As long as it attacked this turn. Left the battlefield this turn. Cast a spell. Island Walk. Aggression. That entered the battlefield this turn. This turn if able. I probably just put T creature. Azra Oddsmaker has an interesting name. Oh, that's actually a neat card that I've never seen before. Is that Battle Bond? At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may discard a card, which I'm not a fan of, but you know, sometimes you just have garbage cards. It goes with Madness, too. If you do, choose a creature. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player this turn, you draw 2 cards. That's neat. Any other pieces of equipment give haste. Alright, there's like Boots of Speed. Oh, Helm of the Host. I do like Helm of the Host. I like the Rabbit Battery because it's a silly little creature with haste, but also can give an equipped creature haste, and the equip cost is small. Sword of Vengeance is kinda wicked. +2, +0, and it has First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. I like the vigilance part too. We're just going to throw that in here. Oh, no. Since that was the last thing I put in, we'll just take that out. I like Helm of the Host because it gives... And the token gains haste. Does it keep haste? Well, it doesn't say until end of turn, so I guess it always has haste. I do like the way this deck turned out a little bit more than the previous one. I think we might actually go back to the previous one. It's funny how there's like very little actual haste in this deck. It's like, yeah, you know, we plan on attacking with our commander even though he's only a 3/3. Or giving haste to something that's a little bit more impressive. I like how it turned into a Jund treasure deck more than it was anything else. Hopefully we can use our 1-for-1 removal to get stuff out of our way. We're going to go back to the previous deck because I just don't like how few creatures are in it. Like there's only 14. Let's worry less. Let's turn this into a grid really quick. Let's worry less about untapping our commander. At least not ones that aren't repeatable. So we got rid of that one. We'll get rid of 1000-year elixir. We like Umbral Mantle because that's funny. It's just that we need, with this one and this one, we do need another source of mana because he only creates 4. So we would need like the Nyx Bloom Ancient out. Because he costs 1 to activate his ability. But that's also why we're keeping Staff of Domination in, because we can untap it for 1 and then untap the creature for 3. And if we have multiple, and if we have different ways of getting of mana in play, so that only frees up 2 spots. But I do like these things that protect our commander. Rug of Smothering hits us too. I know this is a creature and we're taking it out, but we're going to replace it with a different creature now that I've read that one properly. And this kind of thing we won't play unless we have like the Horizon Stone or one of these other ones in play. That's first spell, that's still fine. That's opponent's. This at least makes creatures. Okay, we freed up three. Well, we freed up 2 spots. One of those was a creature. So let's go to card search. Let's go back in here and see what kind of creatures. I mean, we could put in this and Birds of Paradise and Zerta Druid, but I think I'd still rather have, you know what, Magus of the Candelabra can go with the Paradise, I mean not Paradise, the Nyx Bloom Ancient. Oh, you know what? Xantra makes it back in as another. See, but that's a mana sink for everybody. No, that's a mana sink for everybody. Aha. I figured it out. Tap an untapped ally you control. Okay, so I realize that I didn't help. See if anything else punishes for untapped land. Can't attack if a defending player controls an untapped land. Can't block if you control an untapped land. Well, that's interesting. Destroy all enchantments you don't control. Then if you control an untapped land, destroy all enchantments you control. Okay. During each player's upkeep, Power Surge deals 1 damage to that player for each land or he controls that was untapped at the beginning of the turn before the untap phase. Oh, there we go. So we can double dip on that particular one. At the end of each player's turn, put a charge counter on mana cash for each untapped land that player controls. Remove. Okay, nope. Mana cash doesn't really help us. And that's not even a creature, I just thought that was good. No untapped lands. You know what? We're going to remove that. We're not going to make people sacrifice their lands, because if they don't have lands, they don't have lands, they can't tap them and mana burn themselves. Actually, no. We're putting that back in. Because I realized that they would just tap them and try to use all their mana. So veteran brawlers are a lot like the branded brawlers. Well of Discovery costs way too much for what it does, but it is card draw, so that's interesting. No untapped lands, you gain 2 life. No untapped lands, you draw a card. That was mildly interesting. Now we're at 99 again, with 14 creatures still somehow. Because I'm bad at adding creatures to this deck. Because I like all these effects that aren't creatures. So our opening hand really does need to be ramp to get our commander out, and And one of the three things that directly... No, there's actually more than three. One of the pieces of equipment that directly protect them, like the Hammer of Nazahan, or the Mithril Coat, or the boots, you know, either the set of the boots or the Mirror Shield. Boots, Greaves, Shield, yeah. We're really looking for a hand like that. Let's go by categories again just to see. Okay, those two were put over there. Oh, Stoneshaker Shaman is at least a creature. I'll at least have a 15th creature as soon as I figure out what I want that 15th creature to be. And it's not going to be in Mana Dork, because I at least want it to be something that can block. I know the Rogue of Smothering can block because it has flying and it's a 1/3, but it's also very small. Valgavoth, Harrower of Souls, flying, ward, pay 2 life. Oh, whenever an opponent loses life for the first time during each of their turns. Oh, their turns. Eh. Your turn. Loses life. You know what? Yeah, Blitzwing can go in here. Because that's, there, that at least goes with, they didn't put him in Drain. They put him in Burn, which is where both of these should go, because they don't drain, they just burn. Well, that makes me feel slightly better. "15 creatures is just so little creatures for me. You know what? When I was doing the playtest, I didn't lose the life each time I drew the card. And it's been so many minutes since that happened, I bet a lot of people noticed it before I did. So that is Jund Week. Okay, so Mana Burn is back. We're going to go back over here to Jund him out. It's not really a good name for this anymore. Haste for treasure. Treasures to do stuff. Make it unlisted instead of private. Haste makes wealth. That is kind of a thing that happens when I type. I don't let go of shift quick enough. Save changes. Double checking this one. Unlisted. That's the way I like them. So yeah, next week is Naya, the last of the Shards of Alara. After that, we'll be moving on to the Tarkir wedges. I will see you then.